Namibia is full of amazing people, whether local or visiting. Join us for the conversation where we discuss these incredible projects, interesting topics, and what makes Namibia so special. The conversation with Gondwana Collection Namibia, where we sit and we chat about all things Namibian. Today we are so lucky to have with us the CEO of Cricket Namibia, Johan Muller, and one of the star players of the national team, Smit. Off air, JJ just promised us that he's going to have an absolute breakout World Cup. So watch this space, he promised us. Because our timing is absolutely perfect. We're about to send the national team off to the World Cup for the T20. So a lot of excitement. But Johan, let's start with you. From a distance, it seems that it's really going well with Cricket Namibia. Tell us how is it going from your perspective?
Gys, it is going well. It can always go better. Let's put it that way. But we're very humbled and grateful for the last 5 years. 2018 in June, cricket wasn't in a good space at all. Entire board resigned. We were 5 million in debt. We didn't have a going concern, and a few businessmen with a cricket interest, they decided to step up to the plate and administer cricket as a business. And the change around from that to now has been absolutely enormous. What we are very proud of, besides the growth of the company, was how we could serve the Namibian child and the Namibian stakeholder through having programs now in all 14 regions. More than 130,000 kids had access to cricket last year. More than 30,000 of them played regular cricket matches. We were able to appoint coaches in all those regions. We trained teachers. And that's the base of how you impact the nation. If you can have the sporting code at grassroots levels and people start understanding the culture of that sport, which is not a natural sport for Namibia. And just the growth that we've seen through the development programs has been rewarding.
That is amazing to hear. And there's always a theme in terms of the success of Namibian stories. And that's that word that you used, and that's grassroots. That's amazing what you've just said. Who knows? Maybe our next JJ Smit comes from Oshikuku. I believe us as a nation, sporting or otherwise, we've always tend to kind of punch way above our weight. And I think now with the national team going to the World Cup, I think that's testimony to that. JJ, looking forward to the trip?
Yeah, of course. Can't wait to actually flying tomorrow. So yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to be playing against the big teams. It's going to be a space of 3 years. We've played against 5 or 6 test nations. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And what are the biggest teams that you're going to play now in the World Cup?
So yeah, this year we're playing against Australia and England. Those are the two big test nations we're playing in or against. And yeah, they're the top 3 in terms of revenue and resources in their countries, alongside of India. So yeah, it's going to be a big challenge.
And a massive opportunity.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I promise you, there will be riots in Namibia if we beat one of those 2 teams. It sounds like fun. Johan, to go back to what you've said, give us some detail. How did you manage, you and your board, in 5 years from that kind of negative base to reach where you are today?
We had 3 very strategic points that we started building a company on. I think what I need to highlight maybe is the impact of the national men's team in 2019, where the appointment of Pierre de Bruin for a 4-month period as a national head coach. The team qualified for ODI status in April 2019, which led to an increase in our funding cycle from ICC, which is based on your competition that you play in, but also the amount of numbers of your development programs that you produce. So we had literally a very simple strategy. The first one was to understand and align to the ICC, which is our International Cricket Council, to their strategy and funding model. And I still believe to today that a lot of sporting codes in Namibia do not understand how their international federation actually provides funds, that you have to align your programs and structures to tap into the maximum resources that's available for you and tap into the common strategy of the international organization that they want to roll out. The second one is we had to develop a structure that can feed that strategy. So in terms of organogram, organizational structure, and then to build the capacity of our staff to be able to deliver programs to meet that structure. And that was literally our three very simplistic goals that we set for ourselves in the end of 2019 when I started here, is that must be the building blocks for how we're going to build this company. And we've used that now. We've had quite a number of other strategic objectives after that, but that was always the building blocks. I think what was a change in mindset is we don't operate the sporting code. We operate a business, and our business is cricket. And we need to package that business. We need to package that product as either a sellable concept or a program that people can get involved in. And I think that's where some sporting codes get it wrong. They think they administer sport, where the sport is actually just a product. But the way you do it is a business model.
And talk me through that model. Off air, we've discussed a bit through that. How does the commercials work of that model?
We had to start to grow our income. We had to reduce our expenses. That was the president, Dr. Rudy van Vuuren, makes this comment. He said, I saved us out of poverty just by streamlining and cutting any additional expenses that you didn't need. But we had to develop an income stream that will sustain cricket and grow cricket. So like most international or sporting organizations, you've got your international body that provides some funding. So first of all, we had to align to tap into the maximum funding we can get from the ICC. The second part was to generate income locally through either sponsorships, commercial products that we would sell in the market. And that's something we've done very successfully. We've now got 31 different commercial partners that's partnering with Cricket Namibia. Some of them are cash value sponsorships, others are barter agreements. But through that, we can build and add products to what we do. The current Nashua Junior franchise is one of them, where we get a sponsor on board to sponsor a program and then associate sponsors to sponsor different teams. And currently there's no expense to that program because the sponsors absorbed it, and they get a very high valuable product back that promotes their brand. So that was the second part, is to increase your local revenue through sponsorships or commercial partners. Some of our commercial partners actually reduces our expenses through the barter agreements. But then we also had to attract international income, and that we've been doing through selling of our broadcasting rights to specifically the Indian market, but also on an international platform. We created our own production team through TV2 Namibia, which means that all international teams that play in Namibia, we do produce that content, we take that content and we sell it in the international market, and that becomes a revenue stream back into our country, which first of all means that you start hosting at a profit, which now means that the more teams you can attract, the more you can host, the more money you will make, and that money we use to distribute between our different programs, from the men's program, women's program, all the way through to some other programs as well.
I think it's an amazing story. I mean, two of the three income streams that you've just discussed is actually externally focused and not internally focused.
Right.
And I think the problem with our small market, our commercial market is relatively small, and the needs out there are so tremendously big. So it's always difficult for commercial businesses in Namibia. You can't just tap all the holes in terms of providing sponsorship and more out there in terms of the needs. But I think your perspective and your focus on the external, especially the broadcasting rights, that is amazing. And I think a lot can be learned from the success that Cricket Namibia has done on that front.
I think it's a model that can work for more sporting codes in Namibia. I think there's interest in every sporting code in different countries in the world. Just the example, basketball can easily partner with USA Basketball, attract teams to come and play, have development programs running locally. I really think there's a far more international scope that a lot of Namibian sporting codes can eye at or can look at. But another fourth revenue stream that we're adding now from next year will be our new stadium, where we've done a lot of research on international stadia. We've gone through the financial models of all 18 counties, all 6 franchises in the US, in Australia, and the 6 in South Africa, to understand which stadiums does make money and which do not make money. To make money on ticket sales and ticket revenue from a stadium just doesn't make sense. You don't host enough games to sustain a stadium just on ticket sales. And that's how we developed the new facility that we're building, is actually to generate revenue back into the cricket product.
Tell us about that. Give us a bit more detail, because you talk about, the model in terms of hosting, hosting at a profit. But obviously for hosting, you need infrastructure. And you're talking about a new stadium?
Up till now, we had to host at various different clubs. It's been exceptionally good for us in the past. Wanderers has always been the home of cricket. They've done a lot to promote and sustain their facility. They've done a lot for cricket in Namibia. The same with United, and to a certain extent, same with Sparta at the coast. But we've grown to such an extent where our national team plays against the top countries. And if you compare that international stadia and fields and quality to the local fields that we had, that's actually multi-sport fields that you play rugby and soccer and hockey on the same field. We had to start looking at creating our own international infrastructure, that we have a specialized field with everything that you need from international facility and able to host World Cup events. So we were very fortunate to attract 2 World Cups, the Under-19 World Cup 2026, which is actually just a forerunner for the Men's World Cup at the end of 2027, where we're going to host 3 of those matches. And through a partnership with the ICC, we've come to an agreement to receive some of those hosting fees in advance. That serves as 60% of our capital to create this infrastructure and the stadium, which we already started with. The field, everything inside the boundary rope is close to completion, and very proud to announce that next week the contractors will start occupying the land.
So if you see dust around the National Athletics and the Rugby Stadium, I understand that is where it will be. A proud new addition, and a world-class addition. It will be in terms of international standards.
Just to throw it back to the players here and to JJ. So the facility will host a high-performance gym. There will be an indoor center. There will be change rooms on the top field. It's 2 fields with all practice wickets and strips to play on. And then the bigger building at the bottom end. So our players will now be able to go for their gym with our own biokineticists that will manage the facility. They will be able to eat balls right next to it. They will be able to do fielding on the field and do a middle net session on the same venue, and then go for the house baths as recovery directly after, and see the physio in the same building. And that's something that we needed to create for the level of where our men's and women's teams are playing on. So I would like to hear from JJ if you're excited about being treated as a professional player where you currently competed.
Yeah, about a month and a half ago, we had a meeting with Johan and at his office, and he told us about it. And my first thing was like, yes, I can see the physio directly after training, because that's when you need it. You don't want to drive around, and because we drive to the bio, you drive to the physio, you drive to the gym, to your field. So now everything's going to be in one place. And I was the first to ask the question, can I see the physio directly after training, or the bio or ice bath? And so yeah, my eyes lit up with the idea of the new stadium.
I think that's just amazing, and I think it again speaks to that theme that if we put our minds to it as Namibians, we can be absolutely world class. And Johan, to you and your whole board, I think it's tremendously well done. But JJ, you've been part of Cricket Namibia now for a while. So this whole journey, you've pretty much been there as a player. So what is your perspective in terms of what's happened over the past 5 years?
There's been a lot of growth on the field, off the field. Coaches, CEO Johan, our marketing lady Natalia, as Johan mentioned last night at our send-off. The growth has been exceptional. Like 5 years ago, we in May. 5 years ago, we just qualified for ODI status. We got ODI status, and you weren't sure of your future, but now looking forward, it looks good. Like there's no other word for it. The new stadium and the facilities, our board has been amazing. They've been so supportive. 6 years ago, May, we were nowhere. We were in debt. Players didn't know much about it, but we knew something was going on. But 6 years ago, it was difficult. I started to wonder, like, do I have to look for a new job now? Do I have to go work for my dad? So yeah, no, it's been an amazing journey.
And now you have that safety net. Now you can focus on what you're doing well, and that is playing cricket for your country.
Yes, and yeah, just like you said. And also we have multi-year contracts now. So you're sure you're going to have work next year and the year after. We introduced that contracts at the end of last year, and that's amazing. You know your future, your immediate future. You are safe. You have that safety net. So yeah, it's good.
And I think also this creates that platform. For obviously you're out there as a representative for Namibia, but obviously it gives that platform where the world's eyes are on you, and a good performance in the World Cup can unlock tremendous opportunities for you as an individual globally as well.
Yeah, of course. Like we said, like one innings, it takes one innings to secure your future, or someone to see you and you get a good deal overseas. It's just even eyes in Namibia is on you everywhere you go. If you go to a bar or something, there's eyes on you. So you can't have too many drinks and think you're going to get away with it. You have to conduct yourself in a professional manner.
That's amazing. Johan, you talk about hosting, and when we're taking Namibia to the world now, and the world's eyes will be on our team. But you've also mentioned bringing teams to Namibia. Tell us a bit more about what you're working on that front.
Yes, so just in the next 14 or next 6 months, we'll be playing in 14 international tournaments, of which 9 of them will be hosted locally. So that is from A sides touring in, from our women's side hosting, under 19 women's sides, our men's side hosting and playing away. So it's become a serious business if you understand what goes on behind an international tournament, bringing teams in, visas, meal requirements, accommodation, transport, just the quality of the field. So it's become a big business, and we had to do that for the purpose that we had to develop this pipeline of players moving through. The new vision from our company is that our national teams, which is under 19 men and women, and our national senior sides, the men and the women's side, have to qualify for World Cups every possible opportunity. So our under 19 ladies is next in line to qualify. They qualify in August in Rwanda, and that's part of how you develop your future pipeline. What is fascinating for us is, and something we're very proud on, is that our youth under 19 system, and especially our female system, has produced so many players from those non-cricketing regions of the past. 6 of our national women's side is from Kusepmund, which is a very small town in the outskirts of Walvis Bay, and almost our entire under 19 side, 9 of them are from the Kusepmund hub, where we've developed cricket in literally a rural area, and it's great to see how those kids literally transform into the breadwinner for their household. Most of our women are now contracted, 16 of them are on contract, and they become the sustainable life source of a family, and it's wonderful to see how that's become a career path. But just back to the hosting concept, it's so critical for us that we play a lot, that we tour a lot. There's so much talent in this country that if we can generate the right exposure for them through the right avenues, the right coaching, but also international exposure, the growth we've seen of this talent is exceeding all expectations.
That is such a beautiful story, especially around Kusepmund. I mean, I love that. It's so aspirational as well, for the youngsters out there. Maybe watching this to this. I mean, this can become a career, a local career, but it can become an international career. And we've seen some of those success stories out there. And JJ promised us he will do that as well. So, but I mean, from a tourism perspective, I'm obviously biased. Johan, I love to hear about all this hosting, because that is international teams from all over the globe, if I understand it correct, coming to Namibia. And yes, a lot of it's the players, but, with them comes family members. Or they, we always like to say, and not to be arrogant, but this country sells itself. Just bring them once. And once people have been here, they say, oh, wow, what a nice place. I want to come back. Next time I want to bring my family. So I think that concept of sport tourism, which is globally a massive and a growing, field of focus in terms of tourism, I think Cricket Namibia also holds a beautiful key in that sense of bringing more and more people to our country for cricket that might not have come here for other reasons.
Yeah, correct. Gys, we've started last year with the concept of if an international tour comes into the country, we normally take them onto some sort of excursion. Yeah. Obviously, they're here for tournaments, so we don't have that 4 or 5 days luxury where they can literally tour and see the Sosos Flays or the Etoshas, but we take them to a local institution where they've got some sort of experience into wildlife. Normally, we take them to a cheetah experience at Nankuze, which is close by. And what we have seen is, besides the fact of their experience, the amount of social media awareness that they create just among their family and friends and their following on social media, of which some of these players have got an enormous following just from a personal capacity, where they start posting about the country and about their experiences in Namibia and how they would like to come back to Namibia. I truly believe that there's a major avenue for Namibia available within sports tourism, where we can show them a taste of Namibia while they're here. We can inform them about everything that we've got to offer and this country has to offer. And the later on, the added effect of that 2 years later when they bring their family or whoever it is, friends that they tell about the country, to actually come and do a 2-week tour. I truly believe there's so much opportunity that we still need to attract through that and generate.
And I think now with the new world-class infrastructure coming, just adding to that, I assume obviously that is for hosting tournaments, but I assume international teams can also come and do training camps here.
Yes, international teams come for training mostly in cricket when they can play on grass surfaces, when they're from a environment where they've got a lot of rain or big winters like the UK winters. Those teams travel in March and April to come and train on grass before their summer season starts. So there's a big window for us to attract teams to come and practice. We want to connect the stadium to a African academy. It's part of a passion to help other African countries where they don't necessarily have the resources. They've got star players, but they don't have exposure to world-class coaching, to the right conditioning elements, and to a world-class setup. So we'll definitely utilize the facility not just to host, but to attract touring teams, and also not just on national level. And I think this is where the sports tourism concept can be promoted at a school level, at a club level, where a lot of schools from around the country, academies from around the country actually do tour. It's obviously paid by parents, and that's your comment where the families tour with, the mum and dad's going to tour with the child if they come. And we need to package it that we facilitate cricket in different regions of the country, and then the family tours with, and they have in the off days excursions in a Walvis Bay or wherever they play. And that becomes not just a first-hand user; it also becomes a source where they start telling their immediate community about the experience, and they start planning their next trip to Namibia. So I do believe that infrastructure for us is critical to be able to host and to attract teams to play in the country a lot more. And that's at all levels, because the benefit to tourism, which is currently, the last I heard, was third on our GDP in terms of income generator, it definitely is a market that we need to tap in more.
Absolutely, and the marketing power of that, like you say, I completely agree. We spent a lot of time and effort and resources on marketing, and the whole country does the same. But the consumer out there, it's more peer-to-peer trust. It's not about listening to Gondwana. It's about, listening to my friend who went to Namibia, and they ask themselves, oh, but where is this country? And then they see the footage, and that builds trust, and then you build a momentum, where that trust and that visits here begets more of those, exactly like you say. I completely agree. I think a lot of opportunity for the tourism industry to work together with sporting codes like Cricket Namibia.
For sure, Gys, but not only with the code itself and with teams, but with individual players. A guy like JJ Smit And Marby Erasmus, some of our top players, they've become brands out there. They literally got an international following that wants to see them play. And they become ambassadors for the country. They become ambassadors for tourism in this country. And through the players, we can have a promotional of not just tourism, but the country itself. People would like to read what JJ posts. And that's a way for us to impact how people view the country.
Yeah, I think especially after you've beaten Australia in the World Cup, people would love to hear your view on what's happening there. And after the game, make sure that you invite them to bring the next training camp to us here in Namibia. Johan, are you going to the World Cup?
Gys, no, I'm not going this year. We've got a informal policy that we don't tour when we tour spectators. We have to tour for a purpose. So our board members don't attend World Cups except if they pay for themselves, and me the same. I only really tour to World Cups and other international tours if I can sign some sort of sponsorship to bring back. We don't see it as a necessary expense to go. We can spend that money somewhere else, but I do tour when I can attract international income. So
if anyone were wondering what the success is of Cricket Namibia, that is there. The CEO doesn't go unless there's a specific reason. So and well done. I think that sets the tone. I think that's why, from an outsider perspective, you can clearly see the professionalism that's come into the game. It's beautiful, the development, grassroots level work that you're doing, and then I think you're doing it with the right ethos, and I'm sure from here you will only grow, strength through strength. We give us some details in terms of the finalization plans for the new infrastructure.
So we have almost now completed everything green. So everything inside the boundary ropes has been almost completed. We are just doing the final maintenance and leveling on both the outfields. But then the plans at the bottom section, the main building plans have been approved by City of Windhoek, or they're in the final approval phase. But the contractors start occupying the site from next week, which means that you'll start seeing change there quite regularly now. It's quite a fascinating development where we try to balance a Namibian way of watching sport, which is very informal, under trees, next to a braai with your family, combine it to a stadium that can actually commercialize and have day-to-day operations through a full-time restaurant, a full-time coffee shop. Like I mentioned, the gym will be on site. There will be a cricket academy run on site, but there will be quite a lot of events taking place, recreational events at the facility. But it's exciting to start this journey in terms of construction. Anyone who has constructed anything in the past would know just the planning of it is great, but when it actually materializes, it's even better.
So more or less, when do you think it will be done?
It has to be done end of July next year. We do host the ICC Women's Qualifier end of August. We currently scheduled to host the Proteas men's team in early October. But according to ICC hosting requirements, the World Cup for under 19s is January 2026, and we have to be completed with our facility 5 months prior to that. So we have to be done end of July next year.
JJ, let's talk all things World Cup. I think for our listeners out there, just give us some details in terms of the World Cup will be held in the West Indies.
Yeah, the World Cup will be held in the West Indies and USA. The World Cup starts 1 June, and Namibia, we play our first game 2nd of June. So yeah, the nerves are there, and they are good, and we're looking forward to it. I've been on honeymoon this year to an island, so I'm going to another island without my wife. So she's a bit jealous, but yeah, no, we're looking forward to it and looking forward to play against all 4 teams.
How's the preparation been so far?
It's been good and tough. If you know Pierre de Bruin, you know it will be tough and it will be hard. He doesn't leave any stone unturned. So, and that's what we did. We worked hard. We sacrificed a lot of hours away from your family and your friends. But yeah, it's worth it. And yeah, we're looking forward to
it. And since it's in the West Indies, give us some details in terms of what time of day will the for Namibian time will the games be?
I'm not completely sure, but I think it's after 12 at night. Every game we play. Some are 3 in the morning, some are 1 in the morning. So yeah, it's going to be tough being awake for you guys back home, but please stay up and watch.
Sounds like a recipe for a party, Johan.
Yeah, well, we do need a good reason for that, isn't it? That is a good reason. But they're also doing 6 additional warm-up matches in the West Indies prior to the actual World Cup starts. That's part of just acclimatizing, getting used to the conditions, playing. We play Afghanistan, which is a test nation, which ranked above us. So it's just good measurements to see where you are in terms of your preparation. JJ, you want to share a bit more about the warm-up games?
Yeah, we actually have 4 warm-up games next week, 4 days in a row, and we quite used to that. We played 4 games in 2 days last week, just getting finalization correct and combinations and partnerships. So yeah, looking forward to that for warm-up games. 2 is against Afghanistan, which we all know is a good cricket nation, and also a recent cricket nation coming up from being underneath us, and now they're a test nation. So yeah, anything can happen.
Johan, how do we follow, as Namibians, how do we follow this journey? What are the media channels that we need to?
The challenge for that is broadcasting is the biggest income revenue for ICC. That's where they generate their revenue that they distribute and maintain cricket in the world, and they sell those broadcasting rights to a certain broadcaster. He then undersells it to different other broadcasters. Unfortunately, none of the Namibian broadcasters were able to purchase any of those rights, not even for the Namibian matches. It's something that we might have to take up with NBC moving forward, is that they look at least purchase the Namibian matches to make sure that the Namibian public can follow. So currently you'll only be able to see it on SuperSport. That's the only way to really view it. And like JJ mentioned, it will be the odd hours of the night.
And on social media? Instagram?
So you can follow everything. World Cup belongs to ICC. So You can follow on the ICC platforms. Also ICC TV will broadcast this year. And then obviously ICC social media, we will repost from what ICC shares. We're not allowed to post any or generate any of our posts ourselves, but we can repost the content that they've been posting, and we can do close match interviews and things outside of the match situation. But the moment the players are on the field, then they own the rights, and we can only promote what they are promoting.
JJ, best of luck. You've said it. You and your teammates, you represent our beautiful nation. But I think it's also very, very important to just go and enjoy it. I'm like your wife. I'm jealous. But it sounds like an amazing journey and an amazing experience that lies ahead for all of you. So good luck, and please enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
And Johan, to you and your whole board, it's like an absolute wow. It really is. I think you deserve all the compliments and the credit that come to you. And listening to this story, it sounds that this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. The youth out there listening to this. This platform creates an amazing opportunity. Like you said, from Kusepmont to, wherever, the far north, west, east, we have the talent. We always have small numbers,
right.
But I think we have the heart and the guts and the talent. And with leadership like we have at Cricket Namibia, hats off. And we'll support you. We'll be there 3:00 at night. Again, there's a lot of coffees that needs to be had regarding sports tourism. Let's bring more people to our beautiful country, and hats off, really. Well done, and JJ, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gys. Thanks for your time, and thank you for what Gondwana does for promoting this wonderful country.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.